Okay, welcome everybody. It's almost 6:15. We are convening our meeting on February 9th of 2026. And this, I believe, will be our third meeting for the Town Meeting Study Committee. Let me project.
I'll make a motion to open.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Need a second? I'll second.
Second on that. That's fine. So what I wanted to do is just project the
We
agenda.
gotta vote on it. Sorry, parliamentary procedure. Sorry about it. We all gotta do a vote if we're okay to open. Say
That's
aye.
okay.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, voice vote because
Aye.
there was a Patrick Molina, aye. Emilio Dunn, aye.
Jennifer Peterson, aye.
Alyssa Lee, aye.
Well, I agree as well. And Emilio's recording this because he's doing the minutes.
Okay. All right,
So,
unanimous. Let's open.
okay, so what we're going to do is one of the things that became a little bit on the kind of like we got sidetracked almost is I received a request from the select board in to put together a draft or a template or use their template and adopt language that would provide a draft for fulfilling their goal of the Groveland Suitability Advisory Committee, the GSAC. So draft language pertaining to town meeting study committee. So I told Rebecca in a series of emails that, listen, thank you very much. But if you're approaching me as a private citizen and I was not on this committee, I would happily be your consultant. I've got 18 years of experience in local government. I can draft something. So I did. However, I said, I need to put this on the agenda because I love and respect, and I am working with a great bunch of people on this thing called the Town Meeting Study Committee. And I kind of need to like get their green light to be able to, approve some kind of a draft that we can say, this is what we, not what Joe thinks would, work to fulfill your mandate for the GSAC. Now, we just happen to have at this meeting our venerable, let me pick this up, just drop some files, one of our select board members. So, Steve, give us a quick update about the GSAC and what's the rush?
So in terms of you're talking about in terms of the form that we sent over and asked you guys to take a look at, is that kind of the goal? So really what we're doing there, my understanding of what the select board is doing there is that we are trying to standardize kind of the language that we have for different boards and committees that the select board has created. For example, the sustainability committee that Joe mentioned, this committee. And so what we've been, and the recreation committee is another one that we're going to be speaking with. What we're looking for you guys to do is kind of at the top of that document that I don't know if Joe has it up on the screen, but there's kind of a mission and vision statement. We really just need you guys as a committee to, make some recommendations there. If there's certain things you want to see included or excluded, let us know, and then we'll incorporate that. You don't really have to worry about the rest of the document because that's all pretty standard across all committees. It's really just those first two sections where we'd like if you're willing to provide it, where we'd like your feedback and input so that when we've kind of formalized it for this committee, that you've had a chance to weigh in. That's all.
Oh, go on.
Oh, maybe it's the same, who knows? So I just wanted to clarify the document I'm looking at that I think Joe had given us and also on our agenda mentions the Groveland Sustainability Advisory Committee. Are you looking for our committee?
Yes.
It's town
Yes.
study, so
Town study.
nothing to do with the
Right. We just
sustainability.
want you to basically provide us some input that we can incorporate into the document for the town meeting study committee.
Yeah.
So, and I think we're going the same place. Is all you're looking for basically like a short mission statement of what this committee is and does?
Yep.
Okay, all right, because it was confusing
Yep.
to me, like,
Totally.
right. So,
Most of the rest of that document, if you read through it, is kind of standard operating procedures. There's some things that might be different across committees, like how frequently you eat and what your makeup is in terms of how many members and stuff.
Mhm.
But most of the rest of it is just to establish some guidelines around how committees operate. So really, we just need you to weigh in on the mission and vision.
It wasn't that a charge by the select board though?
Yep, but we're taking a look at all of the committees, so if you have input, like if you say, hey. All of the committees that we created,
Mhm.
if you have input that you think should be incorporated, we will take a look at that. But it was created by us.
Okay.
right, fair point.
And
Okay,
obviously,
so here it
I'm
is.
Speaking as a member of the select board, not for the select.
No,
board.
understood. It's helpful.
Here it is. Here's the draft. I whipped it together over a couple of weekends, and it's like, okay, but I can't be held to this. I want to share this with my colleagues. So the
Nice.
vision, the committee operates on the charge directed by the select board in order to evaluate current format for town meeting and to inquire about report and make recommendations for modifications to increase participation count and improve both functional and aesthetic qualities of the meeting experience. What's the mission? The mission is provisional and dependent on the current charge from the select board, subject to modification. The current mission is for the committee to evaluate, report, and make recommendations on the impacts, costs, expected outcomes, and whether the vision can be fulfilled in two areas relative to the 2025-2026 charge, because we're in a one-year charge, electronic voting, whether we should do it or not, and Saturday meetings, whether we should do it or not. Definition. So I'm using
Can
the.
we, Joe, can we maybe so we could provide feedback one section at a time? Does that make sense?
Yes, that would be fine. That's the point. The point is that's why it's on the agenda. It's like, okay, I can't proceed on my own. I'm not a private citizen. I'm on a committee and I want to do it by committee. Yes. Go ahead. Let's take.
So do for the committee, for any of the town committees that are put together, appointed essentially by the select board, they're somewhat short term, right? And so I don't know that vision, in my perspective, really aligns with that short term goal, because I'm thinking vision is long term strategic, and what we're really doing, I guess, is mission based, which I would just pull straight from what our charge was from the select board. So I guess, a couple things on vision one. I personally am not inclined to have it there. If we are going to have it there, I'm not sure that we want aesthetic qualities to be there as part of our vision, but I don't know. Open for discussion.
You don't like the word vision.
Love the word vision. I just don't think it applies here.
In this context, I
Yeah.
mean.
Right.
No, it's
I mean,
fine by
you
me,
could call it a goal
right?
or
Then it really wouldn't be a vision
and
at
it's
all.
not a vision, right?
Do we just have a mission?
I think we just have.
Is that all that's needed?
That would be for you as a committee to deliver.
I don't have any problem with the language under under the topic vision so much. I mean, I think it's, fine, right? Within normal limits, right? So maybe just both those paragraphs would be under mission for me.
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
to be, I will, just to play devil's advocate for a second. I do think we have an issue with participation. And as part of marketing, aesthetics are a big piece of that. Is it the wall color? I don't think so. But maybe there's communications that we send out or something along those lines. So I mean, there's some aesthetics in there,
I
but
think maybe we define what that is,
yeah.
Like the social media, maybe like
but we aren't charged with any of that
no, true.
as a committee.
That's true.
We have
Oh.
two things.
That's true.
That's very fair.
Yeah, we're charged with
Actually,
improving the
that's really fair.
functional quality of the meeting experience, right?
Yeah, we
We're
have
not really
days.
charged with the aesthetics.
So our vision is really at the end of the day to gauge how to increase participation, or not even that, it's just to gauge whether or not we want to do we have a vision? Yeah, it goes back to that, or is it just a mission?
I would be fine to have two paragraphs under mission and have those essentially be left as they are. I mean, I think again, to avoid picking nits about something that is really just a formulaic thing that the town would like us to have, a blurb about what we do. And what I'm hearing is potentially that they're going to take it as a recommendation and kind of do what they would like to anyway. I think I think spending a lot of this time on that is probably
Right.
not the greatest
Thinking
idea. What I think, right, I think it's that. I think what might be a good idea is if we each got a copy of this draft and maybe put revisions on or suggested revisions for like the next meeting, and then go over the proposed revisions as kind of we do round by round. I don't know that sitting here and spending this time for that is really the best use when we've got Emilio numbers that we want to figure out, and that's really going to be the meat and potatoes of what we're going to be able to do as a committee anyway. What do you think, Joe?
I think you're absolutely right. I respectfully want to address the concerns of the select board. This is an extra homework assignment that was
Yeah.
not part of our original charge. I'd like to send it to you and you guys just,
Yeah.
just highlight it, draft it, and let's see if we can come up with something we can all agree on and for next meeting, because I was originally scheduled last Monday to present this. I said, we are not ready. Sorry, we're just not ready. And there isn't anybody on this committee that doesn't want to do good quality, serious work. And we want to, sometimes we might need a little bit more time to do that. At the end of the day, we're not implementing anything in 2026 anyways. If we're lucky, we can finish our recommendations by June before our charge terminates to do or not do something in 2027 and beyond. So yes. Does everybody have this or shall I resend it?
Could you resend it?
Yeah, that would just be helpful.
Yeah, just to get
Okay.
a top of
No,
inbox.
I will absolutely do that. Thank you. So
On the
Thank you.
note of the presentation too, it would be helpful for us to know in advance of those, if there's things being presented that we do need to be, maybe we can help accelerate these things and come together earlier if needed. To get ahead
that's
of
fine.
them.
No, that I totally appreciate that. Thank you. So let's move on to the next one. This should be like 2 seconds, right? Did everybody look at the minutes of the
Yes.
meetings the last? Okay. All right. So could I have a motion to approve the minutes of, hold on, one thing at a time here. Oh my goodness, November 19th. Now, how about we do the other one first? Hold on.
August 13th.
August 13th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of August 13th?
I'll move to approve the motion, the
Okay,
minutes of
do I have a
August 13th.
second? Do I have
Second.
a second? Okay, do I have any discussion?
None.
Okay. All
All
in
those in
favor?
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh,
Great.
voice vote because you're remote. Patrick Molina, aye.
Emilio
Okay.
Dunn, aye.
Jennifer
Very good.
Peterson, aye.
Okay,
Hopefully,
thank you.
Joe, you too.
Do I have a motion to approve the
Joe, say Joe
November
Demore,
19th?
aye.
Okay, very good. So we're approved.
Right.
You need to say Joe Demore, aye.
Okay, Joe,
Because
aye.
we're doing voice vote.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
Aye, that's right. Yes.
All right.
It's a hybrid meeting. Oh my
No,
goodness.
we're just going through, we're just doing process.
Okay, very good. November 19th, 2025 minutes have been approved.
Nope.
No, that was the August ones.
Okay, that was okay. Do I have a motion to approve the November 19th meeting
So
of
moved.
2020? Do I have any discussion?
We need a second first.
I second it.
Second, okay, any discussion? Okay, how does everybody vote?
Patrick Molina, aye.
Emilio Dunn, aye.
Jennifer Peterson, aye.
Alyssa Lee, aye.
I as well, so it's unanimously approved. Amelia, if you can record that, that'd be wonderful. Terrific, thank you.
80 minutes are approved. Good job.
Okay, very good. I'm going to skip item number 3 because I want to go right to number 4. Presentation by Emilio Dunn of all relevant data, information, and up-to-date number of participants relative to the town-based survey. This is the most important thing. lock the doors. Emilio's not leaving until he gets this done.
Yeah.
All right, first I need to figure out how to get into the Zoom. Was that in the
Okay.
email?
Now, by the way, I have a $1 million question right up front. How many respondents do we have in the town-wide survey? Not Alyssa's, but our survey.
Yeah.
That's the $1 million question.
What was your question?
Yeah.
How many participants do we have in the town survey? Not Alyssa's survey, just the town.
Well, we will get there, once
Okay.
I figure out.
No pressure.
Once I figure
No
out how to
worries.
get here.
I just emailed it to you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. I was hoping I could just click it in this, but I
Thank
could
you,
not.
member of the public. The Groveland public is very helpful.
Yeah, we have a helpful
Yeah.
public.
Mhm.
Yeah, no rush. Immediate is good enough. See, people want to join this committee because we have fun too.
There we go. There we go. All right, now we're cooking.
All right.
In just a moment, hopefully I'll be joining and not have the audio chirp.
And everybody, thank you for coming to the meeting. Thank you, Patrick. I know you had to move heaven and earth to get here.
No, I was able to work it out, so that's good.
Okay. Thank you, man.
No,
Appreciate
of
it.
course. You're muted,
Yep, that
is
is
how you want it.
good. And now we will share this out. All right, sharing screen now. This one, share. Let's see if it pops up.
Oh, there we go.
All right. Like I said, we're cooking with fire. Okay, so
Okay, very
there
good.
were 421 participants. Of that, that's total. There were only, I believe, 120 of those that were, give or take, that were from the town study, the town meeting study.
Yep.
So
So like 300 from.
yeah, so right now the COA is wildly kicking butt at survey results as they have been. And in the time that they presented 100 more, we got, I think, 20 more or so. So with that said, I do want to call out right off the bat, we're in the same place as before where the rest of the town is significantly underrepresented. But there is that. I don't know how we boost the representation of the rest of the town, so that we have more of the population, as I don't know in terms of COA what the target populace there is in representation, or sorry, in reference to the rest of the town.
Yeah,
And
so we're
so-
about 20% of the town.
Right. So if we're missing 80% of the other populations within the town, and the other communities within town, that is something that does worry me a little bit, in terms of the, again, representation within.
But I mean, that's not to say, because I also, not to confuse,
Mhm.
but a number of my participants also did not do that portion, because I'm closing in on 500,
Mhm.
you know, and so
That's
there's
true.
many that did not do
Right.
the survey because they said they already did the standalone.
Oh, I see what's going on.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's
to be
interesting.
fair, if we didn't know that it was the COA
Yeah.
survey that it went out from before, we wouldn't know what community it would be coming from in the
Yeah.
first place.
Well,
So
but-
there's also that where we can play in either direction, but I did want to call out just that as a piece of data that we have at our hands.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we can't bludgeon the town members to demand that they respond, right? I mean, and you know, this has been something that's been going on for the better part of a year.
Right.
And if you haven't come out by now, and you know, it's
Yeah.
been on the board, it's been on the crier, it's been, you know, people have been giving out flyers. So I mean, at some point, we have to say, okay,
enough.
they're either not interested or they don't
Yeah.
care enough because we've broadcast this, to the width and breadth that we could possibly do. So I think
And-
we have to start drawing conclusions and
Our
hitting
our
our
goal
mission.
here, to your point, is to figure out whether Saturdays work or do not, and the electronic voting works or does not. Not to figure out how to get more people here, right? It just happens to be
Yeah.
a piece that comes with this. So with that said, again, we have 421 total respondents, which is great. And within here, again, I've inferred, just as a reminder, I've inferred from the respondents' selections here if they have or have not been in a town meeting in the last 3 years, and their attendance would be more likely, less likely, or unsure, to figure out if it's a possible gain, continued attendance, continued absence, or unsure. Right. And that way we can start to gauge, are we potentially losing attendance? With that said, let's go dive into the data as I had before. There's 3 pivot tables that I made. The first one is, we'll zoom in here, maybe not. Hold on. What's this one?
Getting better.
There we go.
Way better.
Big as it goes. All right. So with this one, this is looking at if Saturday meetings were adopted, the chances of the outcome based on the time. And so the most important pieces to look at here are, number one, the net gain, the net potential gain, which is the difference between the possible gain and possible loss, right? Because if they're going to continue to be absent, then we pay no mind to that. If they're going to continue to attend, we pay no mind to that. But if there's a possible gain and possible loss, the difference between there is that hopefully there's more gain than loss, which this is pertinent here, which is a 4.29% potential gain. Now, the reality of this, though, as we spoke about last time, is still that there is a potential loss of 11% and a potential gain of 15 or almost 16%. And with that said, do we potentially lose these people? And do these people that potentially come, are they actually going to? I mean, that's stuff that we can interpret and go back and forth on all day long. But this is the total net here. Is there's a potential net gain of about 4.3%, which I find interesting. 30% of the residents, if we were to choose a time for residents that were preferential to one time slot, it was the 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. slot for those that did have a preference, which just over half had a preference, and then almost 45% of residents did not have a preference at all when it came to the time slot. So in general, again, we should see a gain in theory by moving this to a Saturday, and the preferential slot is 11 to 2. And if you add up the preferential plus the no preference, it would be a landslide to go to this time slot on a Saturday. But
Wow.
is it worth the gamble for a potential 5% gain?
Understanding that we may have an underrepresentation of,
That too.
right?
Right.
And figuring, if you say 100 people, which is our quorum, we're talking 5 people.
Right. Yes, exactly. Is it worth 5 people? But
4.25 people.
right. Right. 4.25 people, and a white picket fence. And so that is here the possible gain and the possible loss. This is the part that worries me, is do we potentially lose 11 people in order to gain 5 people? Maybe. That is the question. I don't think there's an answer for that. We could ask ChatGPT. There's that. I don't know.
But one thing that looks pretty clear from the data is that if there was going to be a Saturday meeting, a significant amount of people wanted it to be from 11 to 2.
Yes, exactly.
So if there was a Saturday meeting, that's the
That's
time
the slot,
slot
for sure.
that it should be.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, if you have no preference plus this percent
Right.
here, it's these people won't care that it's 11 to 2, and these people will, and then the other people.
They're at 70, right?
Right.
So I found that interesting. Now, if we move on to the how votes are taken, at the end of the day, there was a very, very small amount of potential loss. We would lose just under 2 people. And there would be a potential gain of 10, which I found promising here. So no matter what, this seemed pretty good. From the data, it seems like this is much less risk versus the other one. To gain 10 people, we might lose 1.67 people, right? Again, assuming a turnout of 100. So that is, again, interesting. And then, again, in this case, if we look at the preference, there were obviously much more people preferring electronic voting or having no preference at all, and a much smaller amount that want to voice or raise of hands. So there was
Very
that.
good. God bless you. That's just great work. Wow.
But wait, there's more. So now we combine the data and we look at the data through the lens of combining both the Saturday and electronic voting being used. And overall, if we did the combination of the two, we could again gain that 5.48% in total by doing both. And we would only potentially lose 0.71 by doing both. So again, I found that interesting and potentially useful data. But overall, again, everything's pointing to yes for both in terms of the data, with some risk, but there's never no risk.
It seems to me that the electronic voting is sort of like twice as significant as the Saturday move, in the sense of the potential gains. And the Saturday move seemed to have some potential risk. So I mean, as I look at this, and I mean, everybody's going to have their own opinions about it. I think this says exploring electronic voting is probably a good idea because 10% is pretty significant. And that there's very little risk to lose anybody on electronic voting. So rather than doing both and maybe throwing the proverbial baby out with the bathwater, right? I might recommend, and we'll talk about what everybody thinks, but I would potentially recommend to try the electronic voting first and then maybe do another round of data and see how that goes. And then see if, instead of doing both things at once, maybe try one and see how it goes. And then, and the electronic voting piece was certainly more significant than the Saturday voting piece. So
the only reason why I would be inclined to do both personally is because there is a problem with attendance. And it's almost, we have to do anything at any cost to get attendance. And so while there is some risk to this, you could argue that as much as we could potentially lose these 11 people, like it could be the same chances that we gain these people. So if it's all about the same, then there's that. So now we're talking about splitting hairs and tendencies of potentially losing people versus potentially gaining people.
Well, I think that when we bifurcated the issue, we just talked about electronic voting, we're talking about a potential 10% gain. That is significant, right? Yeah. And I would be interested to see those 10 extra people at town meeting and see what happens, see if it bears out, right? Yeah. And then if then you could do data and say, all right, now you've come and do you like it? We want to keep it, right? And then, oh, by the way, we're still talking about Saturday, right? But when we did just the Saturday thing, the gain of potentially 5 plus the potential loss was seemed a little more skeptical, like the efficacy was not quite so clear, right? But a double digit increase seems, certainly statistically significant. Yeah. And so I would be inclined, and I'm happy to be convinced by anybody, but I'd be inclined to say let's explore electronic voting and maybe shelve the Saturday aspect so as not to detract from the what we think is a pretty clear positive on electronic voting.
Any other comments? Because I have some thoughts, but I want to go around the table. I like to be the last one to say, give an opinion about something.
What do you think, Jen?
Well, and I think I've sort of thought this since we embarked on this mission. I worry about the Saturday meeting change or exploration to the change because I feel like there's probably going to be so much more involved in that because my understanding is that all three towns in our school district schedule that meeting for the last Monday of April. So as to, I don't know exactly, and Joe, maybe, I don't know if you remember, because you were on the school committee as well, but I thought that there was something about, so that one town could not sway the other two towns, so people wouldn't not come out because things passed.
Vis-a-vis the school.
Right, with the school stuff. So I think disentangling from however that agreement worked out could be a complication in this effort. Even though that's not what we're charged with even dealing with.
That's an interesting point.
But I think they can both be true, and that's what I wanted to say is, it seems like, yes, there's this clear, way that people want to go from the data we have of electronic voting, and that's, something that we can recommend, wholeheartedly if we wanted to in regards to the data. And then phasing in, it looks like we could see a gain if we moved over to Saturday, but logistically, maybe that's a whole nother charge because, we would need
There's a complicating factor.
other people. But I think had the data been like, yes, a whole lot of Saturdays, then I think it would be easier to convince other towns to be like, now you should explore it too.
Yeah.
Right.
But not to say that later on, after we implement one part of this, to figure out,
And wasn't there a legal hurdle as well, in terms of the way the bylaw was written about the time of the meeting or what?
Right, the
Mondays?
bylaw would have to be changed.
Right.
That's right.
Because the meeting is set by the budget.
Because the meeting's set by the bylaw, so we couldn't change it this year, even if we wanted to, we
Right.
would have to go, it would have to be part of the warrant and go to town meeting and then be changed at that point as well.
Following year.
Right,
but I think, again, still, I don't
Right.
think just because it's
right, that's not a forever poo-poo on it, it's that there are a couple of complicating factors.
So perhaps, number one, you're right. Again, there is risk to there is markedly more risk to the Saturday meeting than the electronic voting. So there's markedly more risk for a lower percentage outcome. Plus there's the hurdle that needs to go through that it couldn't go through even this year anyways.
And the additional one that Henry,
there's other,
sure.
intertwining.
No,
things.
100%.
So, would it be still worth going through the legal hurdle of the bylaw so that we're free to change it if we want to next year? With, surveying and things like that. And have like a recommendation where maybe we don't change it to be a Saturday vote, but we recommend to the select board to free up the bylaw to make it more workable so that we can change it in the future. So it doesn't have to be on a Monday, and then we can evaluate later, to your point.
I would be happy to take a look into what would be required to do that. And then also I'd want some information about, where you found what, where you kind of remember hearing that. And I'd be happy to take a look into it and
Research
present
some
at
of
the
that
next,
and see
at
what,
the next meeting to tell you kind of like what I think the logistics would be and,
right.
would be necessary.
Because we would
Happy to do
need to figure out those logistics to figure out if it's even worth opening up the bylaw.
Yeah. And, I have never seen anything in writing, so.
No, understood.
It could be urban legend, It could- But
Right.
that.
No, but meshing the school districts, because,
They all-
I mean, the budget.
Is it a gentleman's agreement or?
The school budget is such a large portion of the town meeting, right? It's such a huge component of it. So it's a very good point that I didn't even consider. What do you think, Joe? I think you get to speak last.
If we have, on that topic, if we have an override request from the regional school committee, I believe by regional school agreement, we must all be online the same night. We could create an advantage or disadvantage of some kind of disruption if we just bank off to the right and just have our own little meeting on a Saturday before or after. So
Just to pause, I want to clarify that, yes, I agree. I've had that conversation with Rebecca that we all have to have our meeting on the same
We
day.
do.
I don't
It
think
is a-
that's
Okay,
a,
we have to have that. We have to have our
yeah.
we have to have our meeting on the same night.
The three towns, you mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so-
then that would be,
makes it.
that changes it. We would have to propose not only, I mean, we couldn't do it on our own. We would have to propose some sort of a three-town change. That's a little more complicated.
But I think we just needed the data to even see if
Whether-
that was
whether it
worth
makes sense.
pursuing.
Is it worth pursuing?
Sorry to
Uh,
interrupt.
the other possibility is we could create a bylaw where Groveland conducts a what's called a deliberative meeting, meaning that no decision is made about anything other than at that deliberative meeting. This is very common in New Hampshire. The deliberative meeting, people decide what will end up on the ballot. So that might possibly be a workaround with the school. But I think whether we have an override request or not, since 60% of our budgets are the school, we all
Yeah.
need to be online the same night.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, the data is not strong enough to support a recommendation for a Saturday. Number two. Number three, we would go into a complete unknown, and the risk factor is not reflected in the data. The risk is significantly more. Why? If we just shut down tonight and never meet again and nothing happens, we're still going to have about 100 people show up at
Mhm.
town meeting in April.
Yeah.
Now, whether we give them an electronic device or not, we're still going to have about 100 people show up. But the data does not support, and there's no history to support or even give us any concept as to what could happen if we just change our bylaws, get over the hump with the regional school district and show up next year on a Saturday. We might not have anybody show up. We just don't know. So it seems to me now it's a question as a committee, are we comfortable with the data that we have to recommend to the select board? Let's try electronic voting next year and let's defer until further notice Saturday, or we recommend that you put electronic voting on a non-binding ballot this year, still do nothing with Saturday because we have to work out with the legality of whether we can have a meeting on our own without being online at the same night because of the school committee, and just simply defer. So it's a question of, do we trust the data enough that we can go? Because at the end of the day, there is a shadow data set. And I don't want to pull it in because it's not part of our charge, but Alyssa's work is significant. And the people that responded to the COA survey is significant because they represent probably aesthetically the most active voters, the people that just show up and vote. So I think we have enough data to give the select board a green light. Let's try electronic voting next year. Let's forget about Saturday for now. Or we think that electronic voting is a go, but if you want to confirm it, if you want to verify it, we also recommend that you put it on the ballot and then we give it a try in 2028. That's my thought.
I have kind of an interim proposal. What I think, I agree with you. I think that there is enough, I think the data is now significant enough that we can draw some conclusions from it.
It
I
is, so,
think
I'm sorry, did you say it is or it is?
yes, is. I think it is.
For
I
what?
think,
For what? Electronic voting?
I think we can draw from the data, the conclusions that the surveys provided is what I think. And so what I would say, based on that, and based on the fact that we think we might be able to get a 10% gain by doing electronic voting, I think we should explore electronic voting, which was what we talked about last time, in our last meeting, where if it made sense that it might be the thing to do, we would, have Jen start checking into, okay, what would it cost? What would it look like? What are our options for how we can do it? I know there are rentals. I know you can purchase stuff. There's different ways it would look. So there are some logistical hurdles that I'm sure the select board would be interested in seeing, like, if between now and our next meeting, we, have some ideas about what electronic voting might look like in town, right? It's all well and good to say, yeah, based on our data, which we think now is significant, electronic voting makes sense. Enough people want it that we should either do it or at least explore it. I think that would be a conclusion that we
Yeah,
probably could
I feel that the
unanimously make.
Yeah, and I feel that the hardcore 100, 110, 115 people that show up at meetings every year in a year in, year out, we're gonna be okay. If we say, listen,
Yeah.
we're gonna give you a device this time, are you
Yeah.
okay with it? I don't think they're not gonna show.
I agree.
Right.
I
That's
think they're
that's
gonna show.
exactly, we potentially lose 1.67 people. Right,
Wow,
so at
that's
the
really
worst
cool.
case, we have 108 people there at minimum, but we gain the extra 10. So I think that's totally fair. Another piece here too is if our charter is to figure out all and make a recommendation on electronic voting, cost is a big piece of that. So then making a decision today would help us then have the time to go and evaluate the rest of the pieces that we need to understand for
Actually
electronic voting.
implementing
Right.
electronic voting, yeah.
Right.
Be involved.
Agree. So maybe between now and next meeting, explore what the costs and possibilities, and I'm looking at Jen when I'm doing this, because I think she was kind of on point on it.
Yeah. And I've got some of that data as
And
well.
then from there, making recommendations.
Right, and then Steve had also, I don't know if we wanna ask him tonight or just about his interaction with, he did speak with someone at in Georgetown about the system that they use, and
Cool.
he had some good feedback from that, so.
I'm gonna have to duck out, because, CPC is gonna be starting momentarily. But I'm definitely on board with,
Should we take a vote
oh, sure.
before
Yeah, I mean-
is that a good idea?
I think it is, yeah.
I'd like to make a motion on what we just talked about in terms of advancing on the issue of electronic voting with continued study, getting to the point of producing a recommendation based on interviews with the vendors and a local user, Georgetown.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll
Okay,
second.
please go ahead. If you can craft that, we'll second it. We'll vote on it, and then you can go and Amelia will record it.
I'll move that we agree as a committee that the data supports exploring electronic voting and making a recommendation that if it makes sense to proceed, and that between now and next meeting, we will collectively try to look into what those logistics look like.
And should we close the survey?
Yes, and we should also close the
survey.
close the survey at this time.
Okay, Amelia, if you can capture that, do I have a second?
A second, whichever, doesn't.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
Okay, how do you all vote? One by one?
Patrick
Recorded?
Molina, aye.
Emilio Dunn, aye.
Jennifer Peterson, aye.
Alyssa Lee, aye.
And I vote aye as well, so it's unanimous. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you.
Oh, of course.
Doing that. Well, so I'm going to throw this out March 2nd. Maybe we can meet again March 2nd on a Monday night around same time. And I
go with the thing.
Okay.
I'll use this Zoom, but I should be in. I'll be in person, but I'll still use the Zoom. So, all right. Well, thank you two more items on the agenda after Patrick leaves.
Thanks.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I'm only leaving to do more work for the town. Thanks, guys.
Good night.
All right, so discuss if the non-binding question at the ballot is warranted to support decision. We did discuss it. We just made a decision. We basically said, you know what, we're ready to move forward. We're going to check out the details, how it actually works, how much it costs, blah, blah, blah. So we're not going to pursue, and I'm not going to make a recommendation. I'm not going to make a motion unless somebody wants to suggest to the select board that we should do a non-binding question on the ballot. We're ready to move forward with electronic voting as long as it makes sense technically and financially.
I agree.
Yeah, and I do think, Joe, at the end of the day too, having a vote there with the people that are there on that night might not be the best, how do I put that? Like the vote may be swayed because they're there on that night. They might be more inclined to say, this is the night we've always done, et cetera, right? As opposed to being the other group that isn't there and would be there on the other night too. So I don't even know if that would be useful.
Yeah, good points. I don't know. I did create in 5 sections the initial report. Basically, I was collecting information. Alyssa sent me an updated version of her chapter. So what I'm doing is I'm creating chapters. I pretty much have it done. I just need Emilio to send me everything he just showed us so that I can put it into a chapter, and then I can capsulate it at the beginning to give it a little bit of a summary. So we're like 90% done with the initial report, and that's what it is. It's a little bit of a hodgepodge. So I have a chapter that Stephen Baker basically wrote in interviewing a user of one of the vendors in Georgetown. I have a chapter from Emilio that now is going to be updated with the data from tonight. And Emilio, you can use your own words to whatever summarize it. I have a chapter from Jen, and maybe we can persuade Jen to make the phone calls and check, just interview 2 vendors and get some details. And then when you send me that detail in an email, I'll put that in the chapter. So we're almost there. It's not
Can
a
I
very
just ask a question on the report?
yes.
I don't understand why we have the warrant from last year's meeting included.
I just put that in there strictly as a reference. I can take that out. Absolutely. I just had it as a reference just so that if anybody 100 years from now, 10 years from now, or from the public says, what is this town study committee? What is it all about? It kind of ties it into, well, this is our town meeting from last year. So I could leave it out. I put it in there just because I
Okay.
thought, because we know what we're doing, but, just think about somebody else looking into our town publicly and saying, okay,
Right.
this is a town that's looking at electronic voting, they're looking at, but hey, let's take a look at what did they do last year? So I can leave it out. That was.
I wonder if those words could be part of the report, sort of a history, why we were charged with this, as
Right.
opposed
Maybe
to.
do a narrative as opposed to just, because I think if you were just looking at it, you'd say, well, wait a minute, why am I looking at, Article 10 of the general bylaws?
Yeah.
I maybe just do a narrative about that, and then also like the town moderator booklet. I couldn't figure out really why that stuff was involved.
Yeah, I was just trying to showcase current status where we are
Okay,
and what our meetings
Maybe page like separation pages with a little like to your point, a narrative, and then you could say, here's section 1, section 2, section 3.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. No question about that. Absolutely. And
I
I,
too shared the same question when I
Right.
opened it up. I was like, maybe this was by accident, but with the
That's right.
narrative, it makes a whole lot more sense.
right. And I don't know if this is a report that needs to go to the select board.
honestly, I mean, the answer I think is yes, but they're just waiting to hear from us.
Right,
It's almost like, hey, guess what? Alyssa did this great survey. We did our own survey. Emilio crunched the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think is the,
You know, Steve talked to Georgetown. Jen came up with the numbers. Patrick checked the bylaws. Here's our recommendation.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Forget about Saturday. Let's go with electronic. I mean, if I have that in
Yeah.
a report or not, we're good to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
and I think we say it's chronological, well, and just logical, right? What we're
Right.
charged with, how we went about, you know,
The
what our,
process.
the process, and here's our recommendation.
Yeah,
Yeah. You have to. I mean, I know that the select board respects us and who we are and our capability and our positions. So we don't have to get that complex. I mean,
yeah,
the most critical thing of all, at the end of the day, the data from Emilio, Alyssa's work as a shadow indication, and Jen's interview with vendors. Okay, how does it cost? You know, do we
Mhm.
rent, do we lease? Is someone going to be there for the first night in case this whole thing
Mhm.
blows up? And then, you know, and then Steve's, the best thing about what Steve did is, and Jen kind of told me this too, I thought was really cool, is like, if we buy from a vendor, and of course we can't recommend vendors, we can just recommend vendors, but we can't say pick this one because we have to
Right.
go through the normal procurement process.
right.
But if we were to be fortunate enough to pick a vendor that we like and is affordable and they're great, and we can pick up the phone with Georgetown and say, hey, can you help us out? We're having a problem or we have a question, because they've worked through it. They've got an experience. That's like the perfect storm. It's like it would be awesome. So it's
To
really not
that
that.
point,
Huh?
do we want, Steve's in the room, do we want Steve and Jen to give kind of an overview of that conversation?
Well, go ahead, Steve. Why don't you give us a quick interview? Interview
Come onto the
summary, yeah.
camera.
Yeah, so Steve Baker.
Yeah,
I did meet with the Georgetown town clerk as well as one of their IT staff, probably about a month ago. They were gracious enough to just walk me through the system. They've been using it for a while, so they kind of showed me, how they operate it, how they use it kind of on the fly during a meeting. If an amendment is made and need to update a motion, how it tracks votes. They showed me the actual clickers and how they connect to basically a router that sits in the room. Great system from the looks of what I saw. They seem to have a really good handle on it. The company they're working with, I don't remember the name.
Meridia, is it
Maybe
Meridia, I
Meridia,
think is the one they use.
Seems to be very supportive. They came out the first time they used it, and they will come out for a fee if they need them at other times, but they seem pretty confident that they have it, they're able to manage it themselves. The feedback from their residents seems to be positive.
That's good.
Trying to think of other key points. So Joe mentioned one of the things the town clerk pointed out to me was that they've been able to leverage the fact that other communities use that same system if they need more because they have a big vote coming up and they don't have, I think they have 300 or something.
Mhm.
If they need 500, they can go to another community and say, hey, can we borrow yours? And then the company that provides them just helps them connect those to their router for a period of time. I don't know if it's actually a router, but whatever
Right.
device they
We
have.
can only wish to have that problem of 300.
Right, yeah.
Trying to think of.
Was there anything on the selection process of how they selected
I
a
didn't
vendor?
really get into
Okay.
that with them,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, because they, I don't know if the town clerk that is there presently was there when they selected that vendor,
Gotcha.
because they've been
Okay.
using it for several
They've had it
years.
for
Oh,
a
well,
few
wow.
years.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
But the assistant town clerk was there and she, had some feedback, but we didn't get into the specific, like what their selection process
Yeah.
was. One observation I did have, and I think, small write-up that I sent to you, I said it would be good to go to one of maybe their meetings, asked to
Mhm.
observe. One observation I did have is the clickers are kind of small, so from like an ADA compliance
Yeah.
point of view, I don't know if they have a bigger version and they
Right.
just didn't show me those, or I don't know how they accommodate that, so that might be something to ask.
That would be a good question.
Okay.
But overall, I mean, from what I saw of the actual operation of the system, it seems pretty straightforward. It does things like after the vote is taken and they close it, you can't change anything, so it's locked, because that's important. If you're tallying votes, you don't want someone to go in there and,
And it's done on radio frequencies, right? Isn't it?
yeah, I think it's RF, I think it's RF based, not like pure Wi-Fi. I don't know exactly what frequency it uses.
Yeah.
They did, the gentleman from IT did tell me that the only thing that needs internet access is the computer that is like driving everything. So
Yeah.
like a user's logged into it and, is
Right.
putting the motions up on the screen. And that's basically for a licensing check that it does, I guess. But the
Okay.
system itself operates kind of
Self-contained.
closed.
That's good. And is there any, this is a naive question, but and maybe this is a question that we can ask the vendors too. Is there any like validation that once you click the button that it's like green, you voted, we caught it?
Yeah, so they walked through, and I probably could have taken better notes on this, but they actually test that with the clickers when they start, so they can run a test vote and they literally go through and like
Click it.
walk around the room and click.
Yeah.
But then the device itself, like when you press either the yes or no button, it does like light up
Light up.
green when it registers.
Okay, good, okay. That's.
But I guess they do have, and then I'm sure they would be willing to share the exact procedure with us, but they
Yeah.
do have kind of a process they go through leading up the day of town meeting where, they change the batteries and all the clickers, and then they go around and make sure that, they're working throughout the
Yeah.
room, and then I believe they test each one.
Just good to know that there's some way to validate, like my vote was received, because if you put your hand up or talk, you did that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, I think that like.
Was
in
it
that-
heard, I guess is.
I think in that test vote situation, like it shows the clickers are numbered, right?
Mhm.
So I think it like if you hit 1, it registers 1.
Right.
If you hit 2, it registers 2. So
Yeah.
you can validate that they all.
So these are. deep
But I think
questions.
we're thinking like as an individual, like.
Yeah, so
and
the
I wanna
clickers
make sure,
themselves have a
yeah.
light that shows
Yeah.
like that
Shows on there.
That's good.
And I don't know, they showed me the model that they have. I
Mhm.
don't know if that vendor or other vendors have different models of
Right.
clickers, things like that. We didn't get. I was more just interested in it from the technology perspective and from a perspective of like, hey, how do folks in your town like
Mhm.
electronic?
Did they see an increase at all?
I don't know.
That's okay.
I don't, I didn't really ask
It's
if they saw an increase or a decrease.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, we're talking about a potential
I know.
increase of 10 people.
Right.
So
Right.
in a sea of 100, that might be tough.
Well,
And
so
I
there's
just
like
recollect
5
your-
new people.
Yeah.
Steve,
Clickers, aren't you?
They seemed overall very happy with it, and they said the vendor that they're using is very supportive.
Great.
How many people do they need on hand to actually run the system?
They have one IT person.
It's just one IT person who does that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Steve, I have a couple of questions. And thank you for that.
He's just one, can I just clarify one thing? That IT person works for their school department and they just borrow his time for time.
Morris time, yeah. So because everybody knows you have all the time in the world, you don't have any family responsibilities or work, you have plenty of time on your hands. Would you be kind enough to give Georgetown a call at your earliest inconvenience before our next meeting? And just ask a couple of questions real quickly. Number one, as Alyssa had suggested, have they seen a pronounced increase in numbers? Consistent. And number two, I'm curious to know, and this is a reportable item, how did they make the decision? Was it something that they did through committee like us? Did they put it on the ballot? Did they do surveys, or did the town manager just said, we're going to do it?
So you're talking about the decision to elect to use electronic voting, not the vendor?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Yeah, if you don't mind, honest to goodness, I appreciate your time. Maybe if you could find the time within the next 2 or 3 weeks, just send me an email with that and then I'll share
Yeah,
it.
I'll just email.
I appreciate that. And thanks for the satire acceptance.
Honestly, it was genuinely an interesting experience to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See it in action. I was mostly interested in that aspect.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so the last item is suggested additional supporting topics and initiatives, including which member of the committee will prepare a report. I think what I'll do is I'm going to continue to be the person, just feed me the raw data. And I did send an email regarding the GSAC with a suggestion for Patrick to do some editing. And whatever you suggest, all of you on the committee, highlight a specific color, which is kind of weird. So if Emilio wants to make a change in that draft that I highlighted, do it in yellow. And if Jen makes a change, do it in green. And so I actually, it's a technique that we use in my company when we work on documents. And also on another nonprofit that I work with, so that then we can see what everybody's opinion is. And then I've asked Patrick if he could possibly just do a final edit. I feel like I've done the initial draft, and I don't want to be the heavy-handed person here that just my signature is on this. I really want to make this a committee proposal. So I did the initial. You guys do the edits. Let's have Patrick finalize it. That's my hope. So, other than that, you think it's possible to meet? And I would make this in person on March 2nd on a Monday. Would that be possible around 6:00?
I don't know what the town calendar looks like. Why don't we just say tentatively, and then we can do email once I can look at the.
Okay. And what I'll
Let me
do
see.
is I'll.
Well, when's the select board, Steve?
I think it's that night.
You do?
Check.
Oh, is that a select board meeting?
It might be. We could meet in here. That's,
Yeah.
Meeting on
we
the
have a meeting
20th.
March 2nd. We have a meeting March 2nd.
yeah, so select board meets that night. As long as no one else is meeting, we can meet in here.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to relieve Steve. I mean, I know that he would like to participate, but if we can meet on March 2nd, that would be great. He'll send me an email after interview in Georgetown, and of course we'll keep him appraised. And Steve, if you could let the committee, the select board meeting know, maybe you can sponsor me, quote unquote, but I'd like to come in the second week of March with some recommendations from our town meeting. Just let me know what night, and if it's a go, I'll come in and put me on the agenda. And I think this committee will support me to go and speak to the select board with specific recommendations, meaning that.
Joe, can I just pause real quick there? I'm just wondering since we're putting all this work into this report to show our reasoning, to the select board about why we're doing these recommendations, if it might be worthwhile to just wait for that final report so that it comes together as a complete package.
That's fine. Okay, then.
I open to
Yes.
thought. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
be in agreement with that. And also with all of the work that we're putting into it, it would be nice to also possibly come to that to support, our committee in the final report, especially if there are additional questions, et cetera.
Yep, and can I just add one thing? On the request to get it on the agenda, Joe, please reach out to Jason, the select board chair, because he sets the agenda. I can't do that for you.
Okay, so so that's a little bit of a change from the past, because in the past you could have, a select board meeting sponsor you, which is fine. Okay.
Yeah, just where it's coming from your committee, it should go directly to him. I don't want to overstep that.
So Alyssa and committee, what about that GSAC component? Do you want me to break out separately? Let's say that everybody makes edit recommendations to the GSAC draft and Patrick finalizes it. Do you want me to hold off on that as well, or can I go earlier? Again,
When is
I'm
that-
in no
when's that due?
rush. I'm just trying to be.
Does that have a due date?
Like,
Steve's saying it does not have a due date.
So we could just deliver it all at once it's fully complete, it sounds like.
okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I just want to be respectful to the select board, and but also to you as well. Okay, then we'll pull everything together. So we'll
I'm
have
sorry,
a
can I
meeting.
just clarify, Joe, when you say the GSAC, you're so that's a sustainability, but we're not doing anything on sustainability.
No, it's a
It's just an
it's a
example.
template.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
just a template, an organizational template.
It's an organizational template, so
It's
based
nothing
on
to do
what-
with the sustainability.
Right, based on what Patrick and we seem to have consent on is, I just emailed you during the meeting. Okay, here's my draft. Alyssa, if you want to make some changes to the visions or the mission or
Yes, no,
whatever.
I get that. I just want to get the language correct that we're doing nothing, we have nothing to do with the sustainability committee. We're doing our own vision.
No, we just want to support the sustainability committee by saying, okay, who are you, town meeting study committee? What do you do? What's your vision?
No,
What's your mission?
We're
All that.
supporting I'm
It
sorry?
has nothing to do with the sustainability committee, does it?
So my understanding is that the town administrator sent out the sustainability committee charter or charge,
Right.
just as an example.
Right, it's just an
Not
example.
as something that,
It was a template. She sent out a template.
Right, and that was just the template that we had used, that the select board had used when it formed the sustainability committee. We're just trying to the select board is just trying to align other committees to a similar format, so everyone's kind of using the same
So
playbook.
sort of like in the finance board, how Rebecca had sent out the template for all the
Yes.
committees to use
Yep,
to bring in.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of
Make it your own.
complying with getting into that template.
Uniformity
Yeah.
Of
So we
committees.
roll up our charge and everything and
Yeah.
mission, et cetera, in
But
that
it's
same
nothing-
template.
Right.
So that the sustainability committee says, here's all of my.
The sustainability is from the
Committees.
trash and recycling group.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but ours,
Right.
we
We have
keep
nothing.
mentioning
No.
that committee and we have
Right.
nothing to
We have nothing to do with it. No.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here's my perspective. Rebecca sent me a template with a request that effectively said, could you use this template as a guide to draft a town meeting study committee
Right.
document for the first week in February for presentation? Then I said, whoa, I can't do this for two reasons. Number one, I'm on a committee and I need to, first of all, create this draft, which I did, send it to them, and then we need to work through our committee to eventually approve a draft to send to you. So there's no way that I can be ready for February. So I want to be very clear. I've been asked to take that template, create a draft, bring it to you for edits, get it approved, and present it to the select board. I mean,
Right.
I can't be clearer than that.
Absolutely, that makes sense. I just wanted to remove the sustainability out of that context.
Is that part of our charge? No. Is that a new charge? Yes. Is it a courtesy? Yes. Let's provide that courtesy. Are they in a rush? Yes. Are we? No. So I just want to be respectful. So that's why I sent it out. If you guys can work it, like Amelia said, we'll present it all in whatever, in May and June, unless we decide, hey, Joe, jump in and go do your thing just with that piece.
Yeah.
If you
And
give
no
me
matter
the,
what, to Alyssa's point, as long as it's finalized first, let's just make
Right.
sure
Get it
it's final before we present, is
Right.
all that Alyssa was really.
absolutely. That's why I did the color coded. You do the edits. Let's have Patrick finish it,
Right.
and then you tell me what you want me to present. I'm done with that project. Respectfully, I did my part.
Perfect.
And again, because I value you and I value your opinion, and I don't want to be the heavy-handed where this is my project and I write everything from top to bottom. So it's all good.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Jen, I'm going to put together an agenda. Let us know if it's possible for March 2nd.
Yep.
And Emilio, send me your chapter with your opinion.
Sure.
Alyssa, I have your piece. Steve, you're going to do your little homework assignment, which again, I appreciate it. I know you're busy. You are. You got a wonderful family, and God bless you for what you do. And Jen, if you could
Yep.
interview a couple of vendors, God bless you for what you do, and thank you
Yep.
for doing as well. Just
Sure.
feed me the raw data. I'll put it into a nice little package, and I'll present it to you guys on March 2nd. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. And I'm going to put this recording up tonight and send it over to Chris, so it'll end up on Groveland YouTube, and everybody can see all the great fun that we're having here at this committee.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you again. You guys be well.
Motion to close?
Motion, yeah.
Motion to close the meeting. Do I have a second?
All in favor? Second?
Unanimous. Thanks, Patrick. And Patrick, thank you, Amelia, also for
Not here.
putting together the minutes. If you can send me the minutes from this evening, that would be great as well. Thank you.
On the meeting, minutes from last meeting, who's going to do, can I do?
That wasn't, we
We
didn't have a
didn't really
meeting.
meet, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We just had a logistics.
Okay, gotcha. Done.
Yeah, we
I'll
didn't
get 'em
kick
for
off a meeting. There was no meeting last time. We
Gotcha.
effectively, we couldn't pursue it. So if you could
Sorry
produce,
for not being there.
that's okay. No worries. We're all volunteers here. If you can produce minutes for tonight, that would be wonderful. Just send them to me and then
For sure.
I'll have them for March 2nd as well. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate
All
it.
right, good
Appreciate
night.
you. All right. Good night. Bye-bye.
It doesn't want us to